morning, Chamber members. My name is Andrea Knight. I am the Event and Membership Manager for the St. Johns County Chamber of Commerce. And this morning, we are speaking with Nancy Deering-Mock. This is brought to you by the North Business Council, and she's going to be speaking with you in regards to the current situation about how to lead during uncertain times. Nancy, thank you so much for being here this morning. We're excited to hear what you have to say, and I will let you go ahead and take over from here.
All right, great. Thank you, Andrea. And greetings, Chamber members and guests. I am absolutely delighted to have been invited to share some of my thoughts with you about leading during periods of uncertainty. I've worked for over 40 years with leaders in all kinds of organizations. And what I hope to do today is sort of weave some of my experience through what we know from the leadership literature and share with you some tips, I would say, principles or practices. 40 years with leaders in all kinds of organizations. And what I hope to do today is sort of weave some of my experience through what we know from the leadership literature and share with you some tips, I would say, principles or practices that I think can be particularly effective for leaders. We know that this is an uncertain time. It reminds me of the book written by Robert Quinn entitled Building the Bridge as You Walk on It, which is pretty much what most of us are doing in terms of finding our way and really making things up and making things work as we go. So I've put together 7 ideas really for leaders in government, business, perhaps entrepreneurs, nonprofits, even leaders in a family situation who might find some of these ideas very useful. So I'm going to share with you those 7 ideas. And the first is to really manage yourself first. We know from research that the very first step in leadership is self-awareness, being able to understand yourself. And in this particular context, I think it means an even more heightened self-awareness, understanding your own reactions to what's happening around you. Whatever those reactions are, I guarantee you they are contagious among your followers. So the whole idea is to, first of all, understand what is it that I'm feeling, what is it that I'm experiencing, and how can I make sure if that's negative in any way that I'm not conveying that I'm not contagious of anything other than that which is helpful to the followers. The second is to get on the balcony, and this idea really appeals to me. This is taken from a book by Ron Heifetz, the title of which was Leadership Without Easy Answers. And he talks about the discipline that leaders should have of being able to get above the fray, meaning if you picture a dance floor, that the leader is able to get on the balcony and watch what's happening below and really get a sense for what the dynamics are, at the same time staying out of the fray, the dramatics, the dynamics, etc. of that dance. Because in being able to observe what's going on, it really is not only staying above the fray, but it's important to understand this notion of what Heifetz refers to as holding steady. During periods of turbulence and uncertainty, followers actually expect their leaders to not only be calm, but to be steady. The third is to over-communicate. There is a lot of research that says that during a time like this, you actually cannot communicate too much. Remember, there are really 2 prongs to this. One is the informational side. People need information, they need facts, they need it to be simple, understandable, consistent, frequent, and 2 ways. In equal measure, they need communication that is inspirational. In other words, the way in which leaders convey hope or optimism, it's really a way in which a leader conveys trust in his or her team and the confidence that the team members are going to be able to get it done, to rise through this, to get through it. What I would recommend is in informational communication, avoid prevarication. Avoid making things up. Avoid exaggerating, and if you don't know, the simplest answer is, I don't know. And in the inspirational communication, I would recommend avoiding platitudes, meaning this too shall pass, you'll get over it. It's not helpful when someone is fearful to be saying, oh, well, you'll get over it, which feels to people highly dismissive. I would also avoid overcommitting, and by that I mean making promises in the future. Well, when we get over this, we're going to do X, or it'll be wonderful and everything will go back to being the way it was. That's an overcommitment because we don't know that yet. And indeed, when that overcommitment is made and then is not actually realized, the followers are going to feel as if they've been disappointed or even misled. The fourth is to provide very clear direction, but at the same time to be open and flexible with that. When everything feels like it's all up for grabs, people need to focus. They need to understand what are the 2 or 3 things, if nothing else, we're going to work on right now. And in this particular situation, those 2 or 3 things might be, for example, client relations and maintaining those. It might be technology capability. It may be employee training and development or contingency planning, or even, and I think this is very important, how are we as a group going to help others or serve others during this period of uncertainty? Now, the other side of that same coin, however, is that you cannot be rigid, meaning as things change, it's likely that your focus may need to change. So effective leaders are really open to seeing new opportunities. They're open to new ideas that may actually pop up during a period like this where some people can be highly creative. So it means a leader has to be flexible in changing his or her mind and his or her direction if need be. The fifth is to show empathy. I'm sure you've noticed by now that people react in very, very different ways to this particular kind of situation. Some may be withdrawn. Some may be paralyzed or fearful. Still others may seem agitated or aggravated in some way, and still others may even be aggressive or angry. So leaders need to listen with empathy, not judging how it is that someone is reacting to all of this, but trying to reassure and at the same time refocus followers and refocusing their energy into those clear, direct focus areas. This is a particular challenge when you're working with people remotely, when people are distant, when they're separated from one another. People may feel less connected in a time like this and feeling therefore an even greater need for an empathetic and listening leader. I really do believe that when this is all over, people are going to look back, and one of the things they're really going to remember is how they were treated. The sixth is to be an exemplar, and by this I mean setting an example. We know from the research that there is absolutely no more powerful shaper of the culture or of the behavior in any kind of group setting than that which the leader demonstrates. This is referred to by Kouzes and Posner in their book, The Leadership Challenge, as modeling the way, being an exemplar. And in this case, what you should think about modeling is steadiness, positivity, and humanity. What are the things that I'm doing to exhibit, not just in words, but also in behavior and in decisions, steadiness, positivity, and humanity? The last and number 7 is to be visible, available, and engaged. This is absolutely no time to hide. Your people need to see you. They need to hear from you. They need to know that you're available and that you really do want to listen. And especially because we are remote and distant, they want to feel engaged. They want to feel consulted. They want to be asked for their input for their ideas. So I would say make it a point to check in often, even informally, with individuals and with teams and groups for whom you are the leader. So those are my 7 ideas. Manage yourself first, get on the balcony, over-communicate, provide clear direction and be flexible, show empathy, be an exemplar, and be visible and available to your followers. I hope that this food for thought really has prompted you to think about your relationship with those whom you lead. And I want to wish you the very best as you address the leadership challenges in the coming days and the coming weeks. Best to you all. Thank you.
Nancy, thank you so much. We value your input and your feedback. And for members, if you have any more questions or you need additional information, we will have Nancy's information available at the end of the presentation. Everyone have a wonderful and safe day. Thank you.